Hey there, and welcome to the Fiihr Factor, the podcast that shines a light on real stories, smart strategies, and the occasional hard truth about running a business. Think of this as your quick dose of clarity before your first cup of coffee. Let's go. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Marc Interial. He's got a company that's called Process Technical Services. How you doing, Marc?
I'm doing good. How are
Good.
you?
Our tech is working so far. So like we got to just take that as a be thankful for that first. And we're both on the right side of the dirt. So I figure that's a good day, right?
That's always a plus to wake up. Yes, it is.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, thanks for taking the time, Marc. You've got a lot of experience, a lot of background, but why don't you tell us about what you're doing right now, if you don't mind first?
Right now at Process Technical Services, we're really mainly in our biggest area of revenue is pre-commissioning and commissioning. A lot of these refineries are new plants, renewable fuels. We also do training and development. We'll develop operating procedures, and then we have an office in Beaumont that caters ExxonMobil that we provide resources for. So we're not that big of a company here. It's all family owned, privately held. We're probably anywhere from 160, 200 employees, roughly 20 to 30 million in revenue. So it's nothing big, but it's close to home and a small group of people. Some people, whether you want to say lucky or not, have worked here their whole lives since they were teenagers. I couldn't imagine that, but and they're still here and they haven't pulled each other's hair or anything. So we must be
That's
doing something
amazing.
right.
That's amazing. And how long have you been with this group?
I've been here probably, I think, going on
Wow.
9 years. This, I hope, I tell everybody I'll retire here if you allow it.
Tell me, what's your view on? I like to talk about people a lot and not talk about people. But
Okay.
I think people are the most important thing that we do as a company and how we grow a company or how we fail as a company. Do you agree? And give me some perspective on that.
I agree fully. I never appreciated that growing up. You see people work hard. I saw a lot of people that what we called worked in the refinery, chase turnarounds. We're always working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, working long
Mm.
hours. So I was always in the oil and gas type industry, went to the service, got out, and then just worked my way up through an EPC company at Fluor, later on Baker, then Wood Group, and now here. But as I got older, I thought training was my cup of tea, so I wanted to learn how to
Hmm.
transfer knowledge. And on the side, I've always been more of a giver than receiver, whether it's fixing a fence or helping out someone in need. And then I remember a grad instructor told me, when you get older, it's like all this knowledge you've carried, one day you're just going to connect all the dots and you're going to have a eureka moment. And that's where I'm at now, just realize people are what make it happen. We have bad days, rough days. You've got to be able to forgive and forget and still carry on. And especially as a parent or an adult, there's no excuses. Bills come, but you still got to work. You still have to get along, and you're people, and you still have drama. So yeah, people are the most important thing in my opinion, and not only just the physical presence, but knowing people. How can I help them? You keep your boundaries or your distance, but if it's something easy for me to do and it's going to make very big impact on you, your children, your life, why
Hmm.
wouldn't I do it?
Yeah. Another thing I
So
found over the years, because I've moved around a good bit, is that and when you leave a place, they tell you everything. Like you get to go to your own funeral while you're alive, which is pretty cool. So they tell you things they wouldn't normally tell you. And one of the things that I've noticed consistently is that it's the little things you do to help people and listen to people and show them that you care and show them that you want their input that are way more powerful than the big grandiose things. Have you found that same thing to be true?
I have more about, it goes back to getting to know people, communicating and listening. Yeah, that's very powerful. I found that throughout the entire industry. I've been at companies where they had core values, lessons, and this and that, but at the end of the day, when they had a reduction in force, they let you go. You were
Hmm.
a number. And then I've been at one company out of all of them. Not to say it's good or bad, but I've had bad days, and they'll go drop you off at home, or I've been taken to the hospital by someone because I thought I was passing. That's unheard of, but it's people like that are on the weekend, we'll go and fix a fence for someone or help someone go pick them up because, their battery
Hmm.
isn't working. They remember
Yes.
that, or people that have family, instead of just saying my condolences or I'll pray for you, which, is all good, but no, I'm here for you. If you need something, I'm here. Like I know you're going through hell. That's what they
Yes.
remember.
Yeah. And I've seen that before when we lost people and people come in and your washing machine goes down and you're on the road. They'll fix your washing machine or they'll like mow your lawn or whatever that is, man. Those things buy you groceries. Those things are huge. They make all the difference.
Yeah, and it's not saying to be overly open or, because there are people who take to that, and they'll get used to that. You got to let people grow, but you got to also distinguish when someone really needs it and they're too proud to ask and just get it done and don't remind them. Don't bring it up, just get it sorted and don't tell nobody. Because I have been on the opposite spectrum, like you said, where people get used to, oh, that's it. That's all you're. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute. Growing up, I would have got a whipping if I even opened my mouth. So, I love you. Go to work. Yeah, that's it. No more.
That's
Grow up.
amazing. Yeah, adulting is hard, but it's a necessary thing if you're going to ever accomplish anything in life.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, I see Six Sigma on here. Talk to me about your experience with Six Sigma, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's more from when I took my grad school. It was more around quality measurement, getting data input is really to the, Six Sigma, green belt, black belt. I never knew about it's just like ad card management. People say you've got to plan for change, and I thought, well, what are you talking about? But then if you reframe it, you're a big vehicle manufacturing company, and you're going to retool everything, go to automation, and you're talking about hundreds of people. You don't just snap your fingers and you got to plan. You got to see who's against it, who's for it. Well, Six Sigma's the same way. It's more about getting data and measuring and how do I refine things? How do I make them more efficient by changing? It could be multiple things, but that's really the concept behind that. Like I said, when you grow up working labor and things like digging a hole, I'm just what is all that stuff? It's like statistics. I hated it. Like who cares? 80%, 90%. I could care less, but it all ties back. There's a lot of science behind it. It's very good information. It's more for manufacturing, production, making widgets, and just streamlining your
Yeah,
processes.
I like it. I was talking to my CPA firm. They're a client of mine, and we were talking about. I don't know how we got on the subject, but if I make a steak on Sunday, I will have the steak, and I'll have a third of it left over, and then I cut that up, and then I have steak tacos for 2 nights. That's my Six
Okay.
Sigma steak formula.
Okay. Well, hey, it works. You're getting the most out of everything. You're being
Yes,
efficient. It's a
you
different way
don't
of
need to
doing it.
cook
Yeah.
every day that way. You got a plan, and then you got enough to eat, and you can enjoy it in a variety of ways, and it's efficient. So I like that. That's important.
Yeah. It's protein and it's quick. You don't have to recook. You just microwave and you get more and more efficient, just getting better as you
I
go.
love it. So what's one of the biggest things you've learned? This is you say it's small in the world of oil and gas, perhaps, but when you're running a big company, what's one of your biggest like pieces of advice for people, whether they have a business of 3 people or 300 people?
It's actually two things. I've always you have to be good. You have to
Hmm.
do right. You're not always going to do right. You're not always, but that's the goal. You've got that bad demon, that good demon, and sometimes we fall stray. But I think always trying to do good is the one thing, and then on the other spectrum is being truthful. Your
Hmm.
word. Those two things are so very not just in work in everything, relationships, children raising. Once you have somebody that you love and you care for, but they're just not doing good, you got to learn how to, you need to get, if you're not going to change, I'm not going to, you've got to get away from me because
Hmm.
that's toxic. And then if you've got that same person that every time they look you straight in the face and it's just a blatant lie for whatever reason, well, you lose trust. And that's
Hmm.
toxic. So I would say truthful and being good are the two most important things in just about everything.
Yes, and I think I love that. I would add. This is similar, but I love transparency, and I think you can build trust through transparency. And also, people can figure out your intent pretty quickly. So if your intent is to rise up the corporate ladder, your intent is to just get as much as you can out of these employees without really being good to them, people figure that stuff out pretty quickly.
Yeah. And I think as you've growing up, I don't, you'd fib,
Sure.
you'd tell lies, but I think it's because you're embarrassed or you have shame and you try to project this persona that you're not. But the moment that goes away and you've got a trust that, look, I might have went out with clients, I'm hungover, I'm talking, but I'm at work, or, I did bad, or this and that, but everybody know you're not telling them your business, but you're here, it's you.
Yes.
That's a lot more respectful. It's credible because when you sit there and act like you walk on water and none of us can, I mean, it's just you just lying to yourself. And like you said, you lose that trend. People see right through that stuff. And if I can't believe you on these little things, now how am I going to trust you to run revenue, run a team? I don't even know what you're doing after hours. Not that I want to know, but you're sitting here like you're this person and you're someone else afterwards. Yeah, it makes it difficult.
Yes.
Not that it's not possible, but it
It
makes it
sure is fun
difficult.
if you cut somebody all the way through on a Tuesday at 7 p.m. or at 1 p.m. and and there's the same person, right? That to me is that makes life so much easier. And frankly, lying takes a lot of memory, and I don't have that kind of memory, so I just choose to skip that as much as I can.
Well, not only that, and I don't know as we grow older or wiser or grow dumber, but all that stuff takes a lot of weight. It takes a lot of psychological, it makes you
Yes.
tired. And you don't real until you get away from that and just say, look, I could care less. I'm going to be me. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do good. It's like that load, like you get home and your
Hmm.
doesn't hurt. Well, I didn't change the way I eat. I didn't change anything else. All I changed was letting my impression of what people thought of me and this persona I was trying to be, that just consumes you. And when that's consuming you, how are you going to focus on anything else? It's like, and it's so simple, yet until you experience it, you'll live like that your whole
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. All right. So talk to me about the other side of that. Have you ever gone through imposter syndrome? Because most people have. I know I have.
Imposter syndrome. So explain that. Is that when you try to
I
someone
think I
else?
would call it's a self-limiting belief structure. So so for instance, when I was a general manager of this TV station, I was 39 years old in Virginia, and I'd been there before as a sales manager. Come back, I'm the station general manager, so I'm in charge of everything. And I go up to the top. I go up to the top floor, and I go behind the desk, and I sit in the office behind this in this chair behind this desk where I've sat on the other side for all these meetings and years. Do I really have what it takes to do this thing? And so
Yeah.
you feel like you're an imposter, and you're not. But getting through that, working through that from a mental perspective and showing that, in fact, I can add value at this station. And I have never run a news department before. I've run sales departments and done all this other stuff, but I can actually add value to the news department. But you've got to get your head right to be able to do that.
Yeah, I know I have experienced that. We used to call it, some of us on the far end of the spectrum called it
Oh
fake it
yeah.
till you make it. But we had a big transition at an organization, and I like being the second person. I'm not the figurehead. I'm not the one meeting clients. I'm the one working and getting people to work. I'm the scenes. Well, they let go of our director. They let go of the other person. Well, guess what? We're going to promote Mark to the lead. So at that time, I wasn't a good public speaker. So I've got an audience of
Yeah.
60 people. I'm sitting up there making presentations, and in your mind you're thinking, what the heck am I doing here? I mean, I know these people, but I'm not the number one person. And it takes time. You're sitting there, why are they doing this to me? And like you said, you have disbelief, self-doubt, even though I was very competent. They wouldn't have put if I didn't, but you're your own worst enemy. And then you're beating yourself up because you think you have all these gaps that you need to fill up. Then you're going to Toastmasters, you're going to this, and you're going to that, and that adds more to it. But yeah, no, I've had that. I think there's a difference between blatantly lying and getting into a position that you're not qualified for, and then being put in a position that you're qualified for, you just don't think you are. And I think that's where that imposter syndrome, well, it could be both of them. I haven't done the first one, like the fake it till you make it. But I've been put in some places I'm thinking, you guys are lost your mind making me do this.
The other thing that shows is a sense of humility as well, which talk about leading people. I think the humility thing is, I mean, you alluded to it earlier, but humility and intellectual curiosity are such great traits to have as a leader because nobody wants to work for a guy that's pompous.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes it hard. It's not somebody you look up to. It's more of a that fearful. It isn't. It's not. It's military. I went through in the Navy. I hated our LPL, but they'd make us run. They'd make us redo stuff, and you looked at them like if I see you in the streets after, man, I'm gonna this. But then you come out in the civilian world and you see the people that are more like Christ. That they'll get down and talk to you, or they're being honest, and they're like geniuses, and that's a lot funner on both on the receiving and the giving end than that
Yes,
other one.
100%, 100%. You have any other parallels between, because I was left to delve into the military. There's a lot of things that are the same, frankly, as business, but military versus business, and since you're Navy, any parallels, any differences, other big differences?
I'd have to really think about. I mean, the military. There's structure. It was so you learn quick. You take orders, or people died, or accident happened. I mean, it's structured like it had to be like that. Civilian world was a lot more lax. It was, our initial impression was like, man, what? This is just soft. People had feelings or this and that. But at the end of the day, it's. I think that the connection is we're all in the same fish bowl. We all got to learn how to get along, especially nowadays. The world we're in today is far from the world I grew up in. It's a lot more complex, a lot more this and that. So whether you're in the military or civilian world, we're all in the same pond. Let's get along and get to work and then get home and mind our businesses and, focus on things we want to. There's just a lot of drama, a lot of messiness out there, and people are preoccupied with everybody else. But that's that both in military and here. My kids went to
Yeah.
the military. They saw dad, and they went through the same. They went through buds, and my buddy, we went in together. He retired, but yeah.
Yeah, it's
I hope I answered your question. I start.
I think the only thing, and I haven't been in the military, so I don't have experience, but reading and talking to some people, I would say that the thing though is there is still a motivational aspect for people to really get them to do their best. And if you can motivate them the proper way, you can get way more out of them than if you're just ordering them around. And there's protocols, and you have to follow the protocols and the chain of command and all those things. But there are still intangibles to. And I read this book. It's called "It's Your Ship," and this guy took the worst performing vessel in the Navy, I think, and made it the best performing from safety, from attrition, from accuracy in shooting, everything. And he did it by giving decision ownership back to the people so they could make decisions at a certain level, no more. Obviously, if the ship was in jeopardy or somebody's life was in jeopardy, or those decisions would have to go to the captain. And he did stuff like didn't just eat with the officers. He'd go downstairs and eat with the crew and do all that kind of stuff. And all that stuff
Yeah,
demonstrates a lot of the things that we've already talked about, I think.
yeah. Well, it's you mentioned that about going down to the crew. One thing I did learn in boot camp, you first get there and you have people from the East Coast, people from California, different races, and the first week you're gravitating because you miss home, so you're bonding with the people nothing to do with races. It's just you
Yeah,
feel
sure.
comfort. That ends after the first week. They ingrain it in your head. There isn't none. You're all blue. You're all government issued. You're all blue. And if you didn't like it, you did exercise. You went running, and they got in. Yeah, you didn't want to do that no more. So after that, you started seeing everybody blue, but it made that
Huh.
common bond. I don't care where you're from, what race you were. We're all in the same category. It's like it just even out the whole playing field. I don't care if you're rich, poor, whatever. We're all blue. We're all government issued. There's a hole in that ship. You plug your body in there. If you got nothing to plug it in, you're not worth nothing. You're government. You're GI government issued. But that the way they did it, and they did it so quickly because of the way the military is, boot camp, if you don't pass that week, they just set you in until you learn. So your boot camp could be 8 weeks or it could be 20 weeks. It's all on you. Eventually you're going to learn. But the point I wanted to make is that if you could figure out in the civilian world without hurting people's feelings or but get everybody so they all feel equal, not one's better than the other, from the CEO to the secretary or the person answering phones, that does tremendous things that you just don't even know what
Yes.
it can do. I mean, it could really be very
Yeah.
impactful because it takes that away. I mean, I'm sure that's half the people's mindset. They're just worried about who they are, their persona, this and that. You take that away, well, what else you got? You have to just focus on your work or your
Yes,
team.
100%. I remember, yeah, even in Houston here, when I would go in, like a lot of the people go out for lunch. I'm like, I'm sitting in the break room and I'm going to eat lunch, bring my lunch in and eat it, and whoever shows up. And I had these best conversations. I was also the person that would like,
Yeah,
oh, there's trash on the floor. Pick the freaking trash up. I don't care if I'm the VP or the GM. You pick the trash up. If
yeah,
the counter's dirty, wipe it off. Come on, man. If I can't do it, why would I expect
yeah.
somebody else to do it?
Yeah, it's those things that a lot of that's gone away. I think it just comes back to being, humble and respectful, and just doing what you would expect others to do, I guess. But we're all not
Yeah.
like that.
Little
I'm the
golden
same
rule
way.
stuff still works. Okay, let me
Yeah,
ask you about. I want to ask you about AI in your business because that's something I ask almost every business person now. How are you using AI? Where do you see it going?
here it's not catching on as much. First of all, we're a very
Huh?
traditional company. I use AI a lot before work, and I use it to do things to help my personal work process
Okay.
become efficient. We're trying to get AI work, trying to commission these facilities and things like that, but we're not using AI for our IT or any work we're still networking, still meeting people, still executing jobs physically. I've started implementing it by doing simple things, from formatting resumes, or when we're meeting new clients and we're talking about partnering with other people, I'll go to AI and link their sites and say, what's the best strategy? What do they have to offer? What's the
Yes.
game plan? And start doing reports. Now share that with the team. And I call them opportunity sheets, and they're very effective because before you're sending an email or a call and you're telling everybody, trying to project your mind, I could send 15 of those and only take about 2 minutes for AI to do it, throw it in Word, put a number on it, and everybody's reading it. And they're like, yeah, I'm interested in this opportunity. And everybody starts kind of doing their work. It's limitless AI. I use it at home for learning. Make graphics. I'll go make apparel on Shopify, and I couldn't do that before. You had to have a marketing, a printing, and this, and it's not to make revenue. No one even knows about it. My kid, they'll see a hoodie show up sometime. Dad, where did you get that at? I don't know, but it was more just to say I
Yeah.
can do it. But AI, my brother works up in Midland with Tank. They've been using AI for 15 years, and I
Oh,
didn't know that. And they're using it more connected to security for these areas. Well, then it started, tracking not only people coming in and going, it started tracking corrosion on tanks and then people that were smoking, and it just started. It's a powerful tool, and it's evolving, not daily. We, depending on the email you use or the account or the updates. But yeah, I'd like to see them use it here more, but we don't, unfortunately.
yeah. I think there is definitely an efficiency play there where there's some adoption. You can keep it you can keep it in the pen. Don't let it out of the pen, but it can save some time and money and get you where you need to go faster. Great question. Let me ask you, if there's one thing as a leader you would have done differently, or one big aha that we haven't talked about yet. Do you have one?
I would never do anything differently. I was just raised like that. Everything happened
Okay.
for a reason. I did a lot of bad growing up, and I've had hard times, good times. I have to take everything and you've learned from it. The aha just goes back to just being yourself, being good, and being.
Mhm.
I mean, you can't express that enough. But taken back, I've been asked that, younger. They say, if you go on a time machine, what would you do? I'd do this or that, or I wouldn't date
Oh,
this person, or I'd try to graduate early. as you get older, you realize everything happened for a reason. When you reflect back, some of the things that I thought were mistakes, if I didn't go through them, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. So it's more having to accept everything and reflect, and if you want to go down that tunnel, figure out from it so you can
Yeah,
appreciate it.
brilliant. Love it. Okay, last three questions. These are very serious now. So are you ready? All
Uh-oh,
right. If
uh-oh.
you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be?
I'd have to say Black Panther because as a kid, just because that's what I liked as a kid was Black Panthers for no other reason than that, a Black Panther. I don't know why, but that was I guess we like those velvety posters that glowed in the dark that hang up on your wall. So yeah,
That's
that would be
wonderful.
me.
And what do you want to be remembered for?
Probably just trying to pay it forward, whether it's knowledge or help. I mean, Mark, a lot of my buds will say, man, Mark's the first one to take off his shirt and give it to you, or his last dollar. So that's probably something good to be remembered for, that, Mark was always there to help out others, no matter, what situation he was in. That'd
Yeah,
be
that's
nice.
awesome. It sounds like yeah, you're at that spot. And then the last question, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I still don't know yet. I watched Cocktail with what was it, Martin Sheen, Charlie Sheen. I thought I wanted to be a stockbroker. Before that, I thought I wanted to be an engineer, go to K-State when I was in Kansas. Got out, went to San Jack, partied. I said, I can't do this. I went to the military, got out. Thought I wanted to be a trainer that made me a manager. And I still don't know what the heck I want to do. I know I want to work till
Okay.
I die. You know, Adam and Eve's messed up. Men work, women have labor pains. So I'll work till I die. I don't think there's any retirement. Just what I'll be doing, I don't know.
And I think one of the things that's is nice to have is the option to work. Like, I don't need to work,
Yeah.
but I have the option to work.
Yeah.
And that's like for business owners, especially, that's where we try to get them. Let's get to the place where you're optional in the
Yeah.
business. And if we do that, life is good.
Yeah. My thing is, though, if I stayed home all day, I'd probably go mental. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. They say go golfing, go fishing, and that's the dream. And you're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But then, I sit there on the weekends and I'm thinking, I have the whole weekend. I'm just sitting there in my rocking chair. And I'm looking at the grass, watching the animals. And okay, well, when's Monday come around? So I go back to I'm boring, I guess.
I think that's another little piece, though, for those people that do retire or they sell a business or whatever. You better have a plan. Don't just say, I'm just going to
Yeah.
sit around and see what comes up. Now, have some sort of a plan to like occupy your brain, keep stretching, keep putting yourself in uncomfortable
Yeah.
positions, because that's how we
Yeah.
continue to grow.
Yeah. No, I like working with wood. So I imagine I'll get all the tools out and just sand wood and do things with wood. I like the smell of wood. I like building things. So if I do leave a revenue generating arena and decide to take off, I'll probably do something with wood
I
just to
like
hang
it.
out.
Very cool. Thank you, Mark. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you for the wisdom. I
Thank,
can tell you have a great team, and I enjoyed our time together.
thank you, Warren.
Cheers.
Nice talking to you.
Liked what you heard? Let's make it real. Schedule your free coaching session today at sugarland.actioncoach.com.